So when you're receiving information, like intuitive information, I mean, it seems like you'd be pretty in touch with, say, for example, like, you get information on someone that probably sticks to your body, then like, do you notice like when it would like all of a sudden like get blocked in you, or like maybe it would affect you in some kind of way? And do you know how have you dealt with like and processed through information like, um, let's see, maybe it's negative. Let's just say negative energy.
Yeah.
Like if it's negative that comes towards you.
Yeah. So a lot of what I'll say is I believe what you're saying is, or we could put it around the label of being an empath. Okay. So empaths tend to take on other people's energy and it sticks to them. And why, first off, I can see it like in the fields of people that it happens. And second off, I used to be one of them. So I know what it feels like. I am an empath, but I used to be an empath that didn't have good boundaries, and that would happen to me as well. So yeah, the energy will come in. Stick is a really good word. It doesn't necessarily stick to your body. It could stick to, we have fields around our bodies and they're categorized by different fields. So like there's the emotional body, the mental body. The emotional body obviously has the emotions. The mental body obviously has like the thoughts, right? So depending on what it is, it will stick to different spots. So let's say that someone had a negative thought about me, okay? And they're like, you know what? I just don't like her. She's too loud, which I'm definitely not loud, but whatever. So say someone thinks they're totally wrong. I'm just kidding. So say someone thinks that I'm loud and I consciously or unconsciously receive that information, because a lot of this is unconscious. If you're not super aware as your language, then this is just going to happen unconsciously to me. This thought is going to come in. It's going to stick to my mental field, okay? And then I'm going to start to feel like, well, I should probably be a little more quiet because I'm loud, right? Like I need to tune myself down, right? Because I'm loud. And it kind of creates a belief. You can put it in that. It puts a belief about yourself. Now, that belief wasn't true a second ago, but now it's true because it's in your field. So when that happens, you become aware of it. You notice, okay, well, I did have this thought that this person thought that I was being loud. They didn't say it out loud, but I felt that that's what they were thinking, or I heard that that's what they were thinking, whatever it is, how you receive intuitive information. And maybe I took that on. Maybe I took that on as a belief, and now I'm feeling like I'm loud all the time, and I can feel it's affecting me because I'm talking a lot quieter and I'm not really expressing myself the way that I would normally express myself. So you want to become aware of all these things. And then usually what I'll do with people, with myself, is that I'll walk through this thing of like, is it true? That's what I tend to ask. Well, is it true? Are you loud? Right? I know I'm not loud. Usually people are leaning in trying to hear me. So no, it's not true. Right? So then I go, okay, it's not true. I'm going to release this from my field. How I would do this, and listen, there are so many different ways to do this, but this is how I teach it, is I would then visualize this imprint, this sticker, whatever you want to call it, this block, negative energy, to release from my field and be released out. Okay, so I would just like watch it, or I would feel it leave, depending on how you experience it. But the thing is that you have to be so aware, and you have to clear yourself every day if you're someone that's very empathic, because you're constantly picking up on other people's stuff. And that's something that I teach all the time. Like clearing is one of the biggest things that you can do. If every night you can just energetically just feel yourself being cleared of any thoughts that people thought about, of your own thoughts that you think about, of your emotions, of other people's emotions, of people just being in your field. Like if you're constantly thinking about someone, let me tell you, they're in your field. If you're constantly like getting just information, yeah, that person probably is thinking of you, and they're probably in your field, and you're probably in theirs if you're thinking about them a lot. So these things that we think like, oh, it's just, it's just weird, or when someone calls you when you were just thinking about that person, it's because it's all connected, right? But the thing is that we want to have our fields clear so that we can serve better. We need just our energy in our field, not anybody else's, not something else's, not a location's energy, anything. We just want our own energy, so then we can be at the best of our capacity, right? To be able to go support out in the world. So that's one thing that I'm constantly teaching. It's just like, you have to clear other people. And it's so funny. I teach this one thing. I just got to tell you, I teach this one thing that's called cutting cords, energetic cords. Okay. A lot of us have energetic cords with other people. That's a lot with when you're thinking of someone all the time, you probably have an energetic cord with them, and they have an energetic cord with you.
You're tied to like their unique essence kind of thing.
Yes. And the energy it's usually one person creates the cord, and this is all unconscious, right? Because it always makes me laugh to think about if this was conscious, like we're just walking around like plugging into other people. Like obviously that's not happening, but it's unconscious, right? If we love someone, we connect an energetic cord with them, right? And it's probably towards their heart. But this energy, you could either be pushing your energy onto someone through that cord, or you could be taking someone's energy into you, like receiving energy into you. And that can seem really great when it's love, right? You're like, well, it's love. Like, this is great. This cord should totally be there. It's like, yes. And you don't need someone else's energy in your field to experience love. Like, you are just love. And the way to be able to love someone else is to be completely filled with your own energy, your own love. So then you don't need anything from anyone else. You're just sharing your love, right? But what's funny about this energetic cord session, because it's like in my training, it's one of the sessions. Whenever someone comes up to this one, I swear to God, they avoid this session like the plague. They never want to cut cords. People do not want to cut cords because they benefit them in some way. You know what I mean? Either they're like receiving something, or they're like feeling like they're in control of someone else. So it's always this funny thing where I'm like, people are like, oh, I can't. Last minute, I can't make this session. I'm like, here we go. You don't want to cut a cord. It's happening, you know? So it's a very funny thing when we think about how we exchange energy and our own beliefs around it, you know, how we don't want to not be connected, but it's really healthy to just have your energy.
Well, it's actually pretty scary I would say, I mean, for some people it'd be very scary, because when I've done some of that stuff, like cutting cords and stuff, it almost opens up a vacuum in your heart. And you have to kind of get sucked into that yourself and actually find out like what's in there. So it can be kind of frightening, because when you're getting sucked into the depths of your own heart, you're just like, I've never been here before, and it's vacant. And then now you have to kind of like fill that space, not with that person or with that thing or situation. So
yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can actually feel when you did that. Wow, that's so intense. The experience that you had with that. Wow.
It's pretty scary.
Sorry. I started seeing it and experiencing it as you were saying it. Yeah, I think that's I love that you said a vacuum, because I think that that's how it feels. Because, right, our chakras, which is where we usually connect cords, they are vortexes. And a vacuum is a really good other explanation of what it is, right? It's spinning energy. And it feels as if, yes, you are getting sucked inside of your own self, your own love. But this time you have to start building and filling yourself up, which is so scary, right? Because you don't have anyone else to lean on to fill it up for you. It is work. And it's really trusting. I mean, I think one of the hardest things that all of us can do is actually love ourselves. Like, it is so hard for us to love ourselves. But imagine if everyone did. Like, what that would feel like, what that would look like if we were all just filled with our own love and we weren't trying to get anything from anyone else. It would be such a different experience.